Hello everyone and welcome to Season 4, Round 4 of my F1 2012 career mode. I am LovesBuds and today we're at Bahrain where we have to finish second or above in our objective. So our qualifying meant that we did not get pole, I can tell you that much. I was a bit off today it seems in the old qualifying stakes. Last year I got on pole and managed to win the race pretty convincingly. This time around it seems to be a bit more difficult. My first lap round was a 1:33.8, which was only good enough for 10th because I made a couple of mistakes. Seems to be having a problem meeting the apex on some of the corners, especially that tricky turn that's coming up in Sector 2. In the first sector I'm up a 10th, but that unfortunately is probably not enough to carry me through. Sort of missed the apex there a little bit, was that I could get away with that, but this is the problem corner coming up, and most of the time I do mess it up like I do there. That would have cost me a couple of tenths. Well, more than a couple of tenths, probably half a second there. And usually I don't have a problem with this corner coming up, but today I do. Taking a bit too much speed into that corner, maybe getting the angle wrong as well. That cost me another few tenths. That's probably about a second in total, which you'll see in the time. Well, it actually cost me about 1.5 seconds, so not great. The second sector, not my best sector, and Sector 3, there just isn't enough to make let me catch up that amount of time, unfortunately. And they are quite fast out of the final corner, the AI. And that's my final time. It's a 1:33.4, only improving by about 3 to 4 tenths, and I did actually come round and do another lap, but I messed it up again, so there's the results. I actually managed to only get an 8th on the 4th row with Jensen Button, my teammate who actually did manage to qualify me for once, but only by a few hundredths of a second. So let's see what we can do. It's a bit cloudy today, but there's no actual rain, so don't worry about that one. So not an average start. Button's still there on my left. I've got the inside line. Let's see if we can slot in somewhere without trying to hit too many people. Schumacher's been touched. He has been spun and he's out of that. Grosjean had a bit of a funny issue there, but Button's managed to hang on behind me. He's actually just got overtaken by Maldonado there. Took Vettel and Raikkonen on the outside of this corner. Not bad, not bad. So hopefully Alonso is my next target, and I think that's Rosberg out in front there because Schumacher went out. Well, he's not out, but he spun it, and I think he's probably the one of the ones at the back of the field there. Let's see if we can settle down. Let's try and hit this apex for once. There we go. I don't seem to have a brilliant speed out there, even with activating my KERS. But my objective today is to finish second, so yeah, I'm really trying to get that second place. Raikkonen's put me under a little bit of pressure. Let's see what happens. Well, let's see if we can get a gap to him, but that definitely doesn't help. Gone quite wide on that corner. He's probably going to get a run on me, but I do have very good acceleration again. I'm using exactly the same setup as I did last year in the Ferrari. Don't know if that's actually helping or not, but I don't think I'm driving quite as well as I was last year anyway, so yeah, I'm still in line for a podium finish at the moment, providing nothing drastic changes. Interesting to see Vettel up in the top 10 again. Usually he is at the back end of the top 10. At least in the past couple of seasons anyway. Red Bull very much midfield team at the moment. Let's see if they can pick up this season. So Raikkonen's still within a second. Let's see what sort of gap there is when we start lap 3. And we're into the second sector now, so could end up losing a bit of time. You might even get a run on me if I mess up this tight corner here, which I almost... Actually, I very much did. He's going to get past. There he goes. There goes Kimi. Or maybe not. He's actually side by side with me. I'm not going to give up that place easily. And I did get a half decent run out of there, not brilliant, but not as bad as my qualifying lap at least. Just meet this apex a bit better. Should be able to get a good run out of here on the straight, so I can get a little bit of a gap going. So it's managed to grow to a second, so we can hang on to that. Got to iron out these little mistakes because the top two are running away with it a little bit. Jensen still looks like he's in the top 10, but I don't know if he's fallen back a bit. I'm not sure. I think he might still be in 7th or something. Even himself has got a little bit of a gap going on to the cars behind him, so hopefully he can score some more points today. I think the main goal for this season is to try and win the Constructors, but it's a little bit dodgy. At least it isn't as bad as Massa, but it's still not great. I'd rather be racing against Jensen than praying he finishes in top 10. But what can you do? That's how random the game can be sometimes. So I don't think there's much going to happen just at the moment. So let me just get around this corner first. Still going a bit around there, a bit dodgy, but hanging on to it. So last time I talked about the British Grand Prix. So let's have a look at more stuff on these tyres. Apparently a couple of days ago Pirelli blamed the teams for the tyre failures and how close they run to the edge, sort of thing. The low tyre pressures and the tyres not being able to stand it. They've now denied blaming teams after announcing immediate changes to their rear tyres, especially with the what's all going on at the moment. Testing is back for a limited time. I think there's two or three 3-day tests they can do after certain races in the European season, where they can test the tyres. That is probably excluding Mercedes, who have to stay in line with their FIA reprimand ruling type thing. Race drivers are allowed to participate in the young drivers test as long as they are testing for tyres only. I think that's what it is, as far as I know. I might be wrong. Admittedly, I haven't actually managed to read up on it. Yesterday I didn't actually get to do very much in terms of reading and video making, seeing I was out most of the day. But yeah, the news this week all about the tyres, as it usually is, and we can only see until Germany what happens. The rumours of the driver boycott at the next race in Germany sort of been dismissed by Eccleston, dismissing the boycott talk. But yeah, I'll be surprised if they had a boycott. I mean, especially if Pirelli are now changing the tyres to a sort of 2012 spec in terms of their construction. If I remember. Before I get this wrong, I better quickly look this up. I can't actually find it at the moment. But anyway, the construction of the tyres is going back to the Kevlar construction, or the Kevlar bits in the tyres, to stop the tyre blowouts we saw in the last race. Because this year they were using like steel or something like that. They're changing the construction so they're a bit more sturdy, sort of towards the 2012 construction, but the compound of the rubber itself is still 2013 spec, so hopefully it should be stronger, but it will probably degrade just as much as they have been doing over the previous races. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much about these tyres because, to be honest, I haven't read up too much about it, and I don't want to end up talking about stuff that's not true or has been changed or whatever. Most of this news will probably change by this evening anyway, by which time the video will be up and running on YouTube. Yes, one other bit of news. Ross Brawn, the team principal of Mercedes, is planning to stay on with Mercedes for next year, despite the recruitment of Paddy Lowe as the executive technical director. I hope Brawn keeps the top seat because he is brilliant. he's a master tactician. Yes, you've got Adrian Newey, who is master aerodynamicist. You've got Brawn, who's a master tactician. So, especially in this Ferrari days, that's for sure. It's well, it'd be nice to see him stay. But yeah, pretty much every single bit of news is on the tyres, really. Wouldn't be surprised. And we've got a second practice tomorrow, which is Friday. Qualifying and race to follow that, obviously, as is the course over F1 weekend. Why would it change? Yeah, now you're getting some classic Love Spuds waffle. Maldonado's up to 4th. Quite interesting. Who the hell's behind me before that? I think it was Raikkonen. So I think Raikkonen and Maldonado are having a bit of a fight behind me, going through the DRS zones. And yeah, I need to come to the pits. Alonso's got a 5-second lead. Hopefully I can make up some time during the pit stop phase and make up some ground with the new tyres. I can see Alonso just ahead of me though. I'm not going to come out in front of him. I don't think I'm going to I'd be close enough to hold him up out of his box. Even though that was a pretty decent time, 3.1 seconds. As you can see, I've physically made up some time there.
There's some traffic at the pit exit. Watch out as you rejoin the track.
Vettel's in 9th, so he must have come into the pits behind me.
You have no more scheduled pit stops, so look after your tyres.
Look after my tyres. I've really got to push now. If I can catch up to Alonso while he's stuck behind a couple of these other cars, I might be on for second place here. It also depends on where Rosberg is as well. I think he's a bit too far ahead though for me to actually be in with a chance of winning. So my target must be second place, just to even meet my objective. That would be nice. If I didn't go wide there, that would have helped. The trouble is, now the tricky corner coming up. The corner I absolutely cannot stand, and I still and yeah, that's what happens. Always lock up. Should probably change the brake balance or something in hindsight, but you know, shit happens. And again, that really pisses me off doing that. And what really pisses me off is the way that the bloody game slows you down off the track. I could understand if you're trying to cut a corner massively, but when you're just coming back on the track, it's really fucking annoying. But yeah, coming across the line, start lap 8, should pass most people in the pit, should be up to 3rd again, yep. Charles Peake is in 4th. Wow, I didn't realise he was that high up. Maybe he might actually get near the points. I don't think he'll actually get in the points, but I wasn't expecting to see Peake that far up. Even though the Mauritians are doing quite well, they seem to be breaking into the midfield again this season. Which is quite interesting to see. Just look out for Jensen now. I think he must be round about 4th. He must be 7th or 8th. Now Alonso's putting the boot down. I might as well do the same since I've got 4 laps of extra fuel. I didn't quite mean to do that. Because I accidentally went straight to the race rather than checking my fuel load, which is obviously set to cautious. Maybe if I'd set it to a more standard fuel mix, not fuel mix, I mean fuel load, I might have been able to stay on the pace a bit more.
We have a gap of about 3 seconds between you and the next car.
It's 3 seconds, so it's not impossible, but it's quite hard because the top two are slowly getting faster and faster. Vettel is actually holding up the guys behind me. He's not gaining on me whatsoever, since I have a 5-second gap to him. 3.7, so yeah, the gap's pretty constant to Alonso and Vettel at the moment. Maldonado is harassing Vettel, it seems. He's 3 tenths behind him. But yeah. Anyway, also in other news, not related to F1, I have downloaded the MotoGP 13 demo on Steam. And I've downloaded it on Steam because I have found a little program that allows me to use my PS3 controller on the computer, and it works absolutely fine. So I might do a video of MotoGP on the demo just to see what you guys think of it. What you guys think of me playing it. I mean, you've probably seen videos out there if any of you are interested in it. I'm considering doing videos on that in the future, maybe like a season, or well, maybe a career mode, maybe, possibly. But the thing is, that probably won't happen until after I move house and that. So it might not be for a while, but I thought I would do a video on it and get the demo, see how I feel playing it. Turns out I'm not actually too bad, so I'll put a video out on it sometime in the next couple of weeks. So look out for that. I do it from cockpit view. I'll actually do it from helmet view, actually, to be precise. So you're gonna have to let me know if you guys feel sick. So that should be interesting. But I find it quite fun from that view, actually. I don't get sick at all, so we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, that coming up in the next couple of weeks. It'll just be the single video because it's just the demo. I do not own the full game yet, so and I probably won't be owning it for a while. So just a little heads up to you guys. But I'm quite interested in doing a bit of motorcycle racing. I haven't actually played a motorbike game for a good long time, so yeah. We'll see how that goes. But back to racing, we're on lap 10. Vettel is still there, he's still hanging on from Maldonado, who is still right behind him there. He's not really getting away from him. That Williams doing pretty well today. 3.3 seconds to Alonso. Still the gap is the same around this little sector as well. It's kind of weird. Not gaining anything, but I've made up to 8.6 seconds now on Vettel. Vettel not only not on the pace of me, but he's also having to defend from Maldonado as well, which I suppose is actually having an effect. The low 1 minute 35s I need to aim for if I'm going to catch up Alonso. Doesn't look like that's happening just yet because I'm in the high 135s for the most part. I did set a nice lap for 134.1, but I think that seems to be a bit of a one-off at the moment. All is not lost now. All is not lost. I can still do it, but it's pretty hard. The trouble is, for me, staying on the track in the second sector. If they just got rid of this corner, I would be so happy. Because I cannot stand it. Also looks like Jensen's got a bit of a train running behind him as well, which is a little bit disappointing to see. He's not making up ground, it seems. Still looks like he is in like 8th or 9th, looking at that. Maybe 7th, I'm not sure. Find out when the results come around. My pace is 1 second up from last time round, but I'm still 3.1 seconds behind Alonso, 10.7 in front of Vettel. So it's fair to say third place is pretty safe. I only just noticed that someone's retired. 23 cars, third out of 23, not too shabby. Nice if I could get up to second, and now the gap has finally got under the 3-second mark. But unfortunately my fuel is starting to run out a little bit. I've only got 1 or 2 laps left in the rich fuel mix mode. So this could be pretty tight. Does kind of look like Alonso is gaining ever so slightly on Rosberg. So Alonso seems to have very good pace today. And if I didn't go wide on that bit, I probably would have been okay to make up some more time. And I've also braked a bit too much there. See, I'm messing up. Trouble is, when I get closer and closer to Alonso, I seem to be messing it up ever so slightly because I'm sort of pushing. But I know where the limit of the car is, unfortunately. Just isn't there. And unfortunately, by the time we get round to the end of this sector, I probably would be back down to 3 seconds again. Just wait for it. Yeah, 3.3 again. So I lost a second in that second sector. Honestly, if I hadn't said it enough, I cannot stand that second sector. Oh well. Generally in the Real World F1 Championship, I do hope Mercedes can actually properly challenge Red Bull if Ferrari can't get back on the pace. Whether the tyre test gave them an advantage or not, I still don't want Red Bull and Sebastian to just dominate the rest of the year. The trouble is, in the second half of the season, the Asian races, Sebastian does extremely well. I mean, look at last year, he won like 3 or 4 in a row or something like that. Because he's always very good at some of those circuits, and he's got the car to do it in as well. Okay, it suits there. Some of those tracks suit the car very well. So the trouble is, if you're going to mount a challenge to Red Bull, and you're going to have to do a hell of a lot of it in the first part of the year. Just like Alonso tried to do last year. He had such a gap leading into the second half of the season that it just got eaten away. It's just unfortunately, I think the same thing's going to happen again, where Vettel's going to be out the front in a lot of the Asian series, like your Singapores, your Japan, your India, places like that. But yeah, that's all in the future. You can't predict what's going to happen, so we shall find out soon enough. Gap still 3.5 seconds to Alonso. Doesn't look like I'm going to do it, unfortunately. I was just starting the last lap. Vettel is now 14 seconds behind. With Maldonado there. Seems to have another car in the mix there. Seems to be Raikkonen. Raikkonen's come out of nowhere. Raikkonen has caught up to Vettel and Maldonado. And they're having a little bit of a three-way tussle there, which is all good for me because I am under no threat whatsoever. Looks like I'm going to take that final podium slot, as long as I don't plug it into the wall. Yeah, because I'm gaining massive amounts of time now. 16.2 seconds. Does look like Vettel is doing some crazy defending back there. I just kind of hope it was Jensen in 4th rather than Vettel, but never mind. So yeah, now I've had to switch back down to the standard fuel mix. I'm losing time quite considerably now to Alonso, down to 4 seconds, which I think is the most it's been for a little while. But there you go. Nico Rosberg has won the race, along with Vettel, along with Alonso. in second, and Love Spuds in third. Vettel should be coming around the last corners around about now, and Jenson Button finished 9th, which is unfortunate, but still a couple of points. Every little helps. So that'd be 17 points for the team.
Well done. Good race.
Kimi, Pastor, Mark Webber, Massa, Jenson Button, and Nico Hulkenberg. So yeah, there we go. Not quite the race I was hoping for or expected, especially after last season. It still makes it for some relatively interesting championship battles this year. If things continue the way they are, hopefully we'll get some upgrades in the next race as well. So I think that's what I've got to do in practice
You're still topping
in
the
the next
Drivers'
race.
Championship
Is
table.
to do some R&D development. R&D. But whatever. Here's the championship standings. I'm on 83 points, 15 ahead of Fernando Alonso, so a race win for him, and no points for me. Could wipe that out pretty easily. Jensen's in 11th, and 8 points, and there's the rest of the standings. Nothing amazing there. Felipe Massa actually got some points this season, which is really irritating. And it still irritates me now. There we go, let's have a look at the constructors' standings. Vodafone, McLaren, Mercedes are actually still on top. The points from Jensen actually meaning the difference between first and third, it seems. Which is something, but they are still very, very close. Hopefully the guys behind us will be squabbling for those points, while I start winning more races. We can only hope. So here we go, a 4th podium of the season. Not my favourite position, but still nonetheless a podium. The team will be happy with that. So join me next time for round 5 in Spain. I'll see you then.